Welcome back to the Debrief, everyone. We're very honored this week to have a special guest, Tamara Tunie from Law & Order SVU. She plays Dr. Melinda Warner on the show. And full disclosure, we're going to post a longer version of this interview on NBCNewYork.com. Thank you so much for being here, Tamara.
Thank you for having me.
I just read this week as the NBC primetime schedule sort of resets now. Jay Leno back at 11:30. Really good numbers for the show this week.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to be back in our 10 o'clock spot. And what was really great is the other night we had 2 brand new episodes back to back. So we were hoping that would really bring everybody back on board and get everybody back in the rhythm of our 10 o'clock spot.
Exactly. Your character has really evolved, and I've read that you're really excited about that. Talk a little bit about that over the
Well, you know, when I first came on the show, it was really to do one episode and possibly recur, you know, over a period of time. And over the years, they continue to write the character and expand the character. And so I went from, you know, coming in for one show to series regular. This is my 10th season.
Exactly.
And over the years, we learned just little snippets about my character. Several years ago, we learned that she was married. And then a couple of years after that, we learned that she had a daughter. And what's so great about it is it's always told through the story that's happening in that particular episode. I mean, for example, one of the clues was my daughter's lunch menu for that day was kind of a clue because the perp had regurgitated, and so I knew that it was a kid because I knew of the contents of the stomach. I know it's very strange.
No, but that's what we love. The viewers love that. Oh, yes. Yeah, exactly.
So, and then also we learned that my character got most of her medical training through the armed services, and we learned that she was a soldier and she could handle a gun, and, you know, one episode took control of the situations.
Tamara, I'm curious, is how much of that evolves because of you as you're playing the role, and how much input you might have with the writers? As they see this, they say, okay, you know what, we like this with you. We want to take this down this road.
Well, you know, our writers are brilliant, first of all, and they come up with the most incredible ideas and thoughts for the character. And so I don't necessarily have any initial input into it, but they do tend to run by me what's going on. You know, Amanda Green wrote that particular episode that I'm talking about where we found out that I was a soldier, and so she ran these ideas by me. And so I think what's really great is that our writers feel like they can, you know, hand me anything and I can kind of run with it. So that's what's great.
The original Law & Order franchise was always able to succeed even though the characters kind of change and the actors kind of change. I think I read where you might get a major change on your show. Is that correct?
Well, you know, I hear these rumors too, but nobody's talking to me about it.
Okay, all right, okay.
But our show, unlike the mothership that we call it, you know, has delved into our characters' personal lives a bit more.
Exactly.
I mean, we know that Mariska Hargitay's character was a product of rape, and so that kind of is what drives her character most of the time. We know that Chris Maloney's character, Stabler, you know, has you know, all them kids. That's what the kids on the street say. You the guy with all them kids. You know, and he has all the children, and he has some family strife going on. And so the audience is able to connect and identify with the characters on our show in a different way than the mothership. And so I think, you know, if there is, you know, eventually there's ultimately going to be some changes because, you know, you can't do the same thing all the time for the rest of your life.
Inevitable.
And so it'll be interesting to see if any major player steps away and who replaces them and how the audience responds to that.
Tamara, I know it's obvious because this is obviously very successful for you, but I'm thinking of your career arc here, and you're familiar to viewers from, you know, NYPD Blue, and certainly a long run. 2 times on As the World Turns, right? How does this settle in for you? How does this figure in the landscape, this role?
Well, you know, I consider myself a journeyman actor, so to speak. And so, you know, I'm constantly working. And when I was doing that long stint on As the World Turns, I was still doing theater and I was still doing films and primetime television. And so, you know, this has been, no, this wasn't the longest because As the World Turns was the longest stint. But, you know, I never expected to be 10 years on any one show. But while I've been doing that, I have continued to do theater. I was in Julius Caesar on Broadway with Denzel Washington a few years ago while I was shooting Law & Order SVU. and As the World Turns.
Course.
You know what I mean? So one of my friends calls me the James Brown of...
The hardest work. Understood.
You know?
And when we talk about Broadway, a co-producer of Spring Awakening.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been exciting. Tony Award winning.
That was thrilling. That was thrilling. You know, that's a really special show. And it's the kind of theater that I want to see, which is what attracted me to it in the first place, you know. And then from that, that catapulted me into producing August Wilson's last play, Radio Golf, on Broadway.
Right.
And so now, you know, I'm still, acting is my thing, but I'm doing a lot of producing, and I directed my first film a couple of years ago that, you know, we have a distributor on and ready to move forward with that. So it's not that I won't be an actor, but I've kind of diversified.
Yeah, understood, as we all should. Well, I don't know if the viewers are as fully aware as how much you contribute to the cultural landscape with some of your volunteer activities and some of the things that you stand up for. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because on the debrief, we do try to keep it local. And let's talk about, for example, God's Love We Deliver.
Yes.
Talk about that.
God's Love We Deliver is an organization that's been around since the 80s. It was a response to the AIDS epidemic. And it started with one woman who had a neighbor who was sick and couldn't shop or cook for himself, and so she started making him meals, and so it grew from that. And now this year, God's Love We delivered its 10 millionth meal, and it's designed to. It was originally about addressing AIDS victims, but it has expanded to anyone who is suffering from a life-threatening illness and can't take care of themselves. And what I love about it, I've always supported it with my little check every now and again.
Right.
And this past year, they asked me to come on board the board of directors, and so I've been helping in that way. And what I love about it is that, you know, they turn no one away. If you are in the situation and you need help, they will get a meal to you that day. You know,
exactly.
And
the need is still great.
Exactly.
And one other thing, we're coming off the Olympics, of course, just over a week or so ago. Figure skating in Harlem.
Yes.
That's very important to you.
Absolutely. That's my baby. Figure Skating in Harlem is a not-for-profit that was established 13 years ago. And it's an arts and education program, and that's what appealed to me. Because of the artistic bent and the educational. And what it is we serve girls in the Harlem community from the ages of 6 to 17 with teaching them figure skating, but the major component is supporting them academically and instilling leadership skills and building self-esteem and sending them off into the world to be fantastic, beautiful citizens. And the great thing about it is the success rate of this program is tangible. You see these young ladies, you know, grow and develop and go on to colleges, and some of our kids who are in high school have gotten scholarships to some of the private schools in the area. Other kids have gone on to get full rides, not just for their undergrad, but also for their masters. You know, so it's a very successful program. It works. It makes sense. They have fun learning how to skate, and they sign a contract at the beginning of each season to maintain a B average or better. And so we supply homework sessions and tutoring so that they can live up to that commitment.
So it's a complete approach to that. And we hope to see them in the Olympics as well.
Absolutely. And the great thing, because you're mentioning the Olympics, I mean, Evan Lysichuk, he's been a supporter of our program forever. And the entire Olympic community and professional skating community have been active and supportive of our program. And we're having our gala April 6th, which is a skating party in Woolman Rink. It's called Skating with the Stars, because all the figure skating stars come, as well as stars from television and film. And it's a skating party, so you get to skate with, you know, Evan Lysichuk. He'll hold your hand and take you around the rink.
Gold medal. All right. That's great. I don't know how you find the time, but we're so happy you took time out for the debrief.
It's my pleasure.
All right, Tamara, Tunie.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.